안녕하십니까. I am very happy to be here. Thank you very much for coming tonight. I promise you the time we spend together will be very valuable. How many people here would like to double their income? If I can show you how, will you give it a try? I'm going to show you today how to double your income. I'm going to show you how everyone doubles their income, and it begins with changing the way you think. The starting point of doubling your income is very simple. Is make a decision to double your income and set it as a goal. If you do that, everything else changes for you. Now, I have some good news. The good news is that we are living at the very best time in all of human history. We have now entered into the 21st century, and many things have changed. One of the most important things that has changed is that we have left the world of physical work and we've moved into the world of mental work. All your success is going to be determined by how well you think. There will never be more opportunities in South Korea than now, except for tomorrow and the next day and for the rest of your lives. This is a wonderful time to be alive. This is the best time in history for us to be alive. Now, I have spoken in 25 countries. I have traveled in 90 countries. I have learned different languages, not Korean, but I've learned different languages so that I could understand the cultures. When I was in my 30s, I went to university and I took a business degree. I have spent thousands of hours of study. I've read thousands of books. I've read hundreds of thousands of articles. And I've come to some ideas about why some people are more successful than others. And I'm going to share those with you in the time that we have together. And here's what I discovered, and it changed my life. I discovered that how important you think you are determines almost everything that happens to you. So I want you to say these words for me. I want you to say the words, I like myself. From now on, whenever you think of any difficulty, you simply say, I like myself. So when you go to work on yourself, you improve every part of your life. They keep waiting for someone else to come and improve their lives, but not you. You are the elite. You're the top 10%. You are proactive. You make things happen. You don't wait for things to happen. Now, what I learned was this. What I learned was the oldest law in human philosophy, the oldest law in human history, which is the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect says that everything happens for a reason. It says that success is not an accident. Failure is not an accident. So, is it possible? I have some news for you. Nobody is better than you, and nobody is smarter than you. No one is better, and no one is smarter. Now, this is a major problem that we have in adult life. I would like to tell you that there are no reasons. All of the reasons exist in your own mind. They don't exist in reality. How do you succeed in this business? And they told me, and I did it, and I achieved success. I would go to the library, and I would check out all the books on real estate, importation and distribution, management, sales, sales management, business building, entrepreneurship. I would take out all the books and I would read and read and read and read, and then I would go and practice. Now, asked before, who is the most important person in this room? And you're right, you are the most important person. What is the most important part of this day, of this time we spend together? The answer is the actions you take afterwards. The most important part of what you learn is not the content of what you learn, it's the actions that you take. All successful people are action-oriented. They're constantly taking action on new ideas. Now, if you take action on a new idea, only two things can happen. What are they? Well, you can succeed or you can fail. If you succeed, you do more of that. If you fail, you learn and become smarter, which makes it more likely you will succeed next time. So you cannot lose by taking action. You can only lose by not acting at all. And the majority of people don't take action. The majority of people will hear good ideas, but then they'll always have an excuse for not taking action today. Many years ago, I spoke with Rich DeVos, the founder of Amway Corporation. And we were talking about these subjects, and he said to me, he said that we have determined in our business that there's a direct relationship between how quickly a person takes action on a new idea and how likely it is that they will ever be successful at anything. What we find is that people who hear a new idea and take action within 24 hours will take action on other ideas as well. But if a person hears a new idea and doesn't do anything with it for a few days, the chances are nothing will ever happen. He said action orientation is the key. The best studies that have been done in the last 50 years, looking at successful people whose lives are going better and better, and unsuccessful people whose lives have flattened out, they find that successful people have one quality: they're always taking action. They're always doing more things. So if you hear something good tonight, be sure to take action on it. And take action as fast as you can, because that soon becomes a habit. And when you develop the habit of action orientation, you will accomplish more in the next 2 or 3 years than the other person accomplishes in 10 or 20 years. Action orientation transforms your life. Well, what I learned from this law of cause and effect was this: thoughts are causes, and conditions, the conditions of your life, are the effects. Thoughts are causes, and conditions are effects. Your thinking creates your life. Now, this is the greatest thought in history. This is the great thought of all the religions and all philosophy and all psychology and all success, is that your thoughts create your life. That you can actually change your life by changing the thoughts that you think. Because your life always goes in the direction of your thinking. Now, I want to share with you a word which you already know, and this is the most important word for success. Are you ready? It's the word how. Okay. So from now on, whenever you have a goal, the only question you ask is how. Whenever you have a problem, the only question you ask is, how do I solve it? If you want to double your income, the only question you ask is, how do I double my income? So I want you to say the words. Say how. Now, say it again. How. Wonderful. From now on, whenever there's anything in your life that you want to change, the only question you ask is how. Because how is the question of the top 10%. How is the question of the self-responsible person. How is the question of the action-oriented person. The person who asks how is one of the top people in our society. Everyone works for and under the people who think in terms of how. Here's a good point. Every goal that you could ever have has already been achieved by someone. Every problem you could ever have has already been solved by someone. Every question you could ever ask has already been answered by someone. Your question is simply to ask how. How did others do it? And there's a rule in success that says success leaves tracks. In other words, there are tracks to any kind of success you want, and your job is to find the tracks and follow the tracks to double your income, to create a wonderful life. All the answers have been found. And nobody's better than you, nobody's smarter than you. If someone is doing better than you today, there's a simple explanation. They figured out how before you did. That's all. And here's another discovery. Anything anyone else has done, you can do as well. If they have done it, that means you can do it. Successful people are optimists. They are positive about themselves and their future. They think about what they want most of the time, and they are what we call realistic optimists. That means they recognize that there are a lot of problems in the world, but they are realistic and they're optimistic about solving the problems and achieving their goals. When you are an optimist, every door opens for you. If you're a pessimist, every door closes. By the way, before I tell you the keys to optimism, to learning how to become an optimist, can you guess what unhappy, negative, unsuccessful people think about most of the time? Well, the answer is they think the opposite way from optimists. Optimists think about what they want and how to get it. Pessimists think about what they don't want, their problems, and who's to blame. Optimists think about the future and where they're going. Pessimists think about the past and who hurt them in the past. Optimists let go of the past because they can't do anything about it. Pessimists hold on to the past because it's all they have. So your job is to let go of the past. One of the great rules for success in life is don't spend any time worrying about something that you can't change. So here's the 3 keys. Number 1, think about what you want and how to get it most of the time. That will keep you positive and optimistic. Number 2, look for the good in every situation. Look for the good in every person. Look for the good in every difficulty. Develop the habit of saying the words, "That's good," whenever something goes wrong. For example, you find out that your house burned down. Well, that's good. You needed a house closer to work anyway. Your car got stolen. Well, that's good. The ashtrays were full anyway. You lost your job. You lost your job. Well, that's good because you didn't like the job anyway. So keep looking for something good. Here's the 3rd key to becoming a complete optimist. And it is to look for the valuable lesson in every difficulty or problem that you have. Let me repeat. Look for the valuable lesson in every problem or difficulty that you have. And a couple of things will happen. First, while you're looking for the lesson, your dimmer switch will go on full, and you'll be positive, you'll be creative, you'll be high energy. If you're looking for who's to blame and what went wrong, your dimmer switch goes right down to negative. When your dimmer switch is down low, you become angry, you become fearful, you become worried, you become impatient, and so on. So your job is to keep your dimmer switch on full most of the time. Successful people are people who make a habit of thinking the thoughts that keep their dimmer switch on full, rather than allowing themselves to think thoughts that make them feel unhappy. So the most important belief you can have, and it's the same belief that all top people have throughout history, is that you are going to be a big success in life. That's your belief. If you believe that you're going to be a big success, it will trigger 2 special behaviors. Special behavior number 1 is that you will try more things. You will try more different things. You will talk to more people. You will make more calls. You will read more books. You will take more actions. You will set more goals. You will try more things. If you try only a few things, you lower the probability of success. You and I cannot control what is going to work and what is not going to work. We can't control what will be successful and what will not be successful. But we can control the number of different things that we try. And if you control the number of things that you try, and you try more things, by extension, you will guarantee your success. Every successful person is an optimist who tries lots of things because he believes he is destined to be successful, or she believes that she is destined to be successful. So try more things. Now, the second quality of optimists is that they persist longer than other people. As a matter of fact, optimists never quit. Optimists continue to persist week after week, month after month, year after year. Optimists never give up. They just never quit. It is the greatest of all rules for success is, first of all, try more things, and second of all, never give up. So here is the secret, is make a decision now that when I have problems in the future, I am not going to stop. I am not going to quit. I am going to set a goal to double my income, and then I'm going to double it again. And no matter how many problems I have, I will just keep going. I will not quit. If you make that decision in your conscious mind, it will be accepted as a command by your subconscious mind. Then, when you go out and you have setbacks and difficulties, you're already programmed. And you immediately respond and you don't quit. I mean, you could shoot me, boom, dead, but I won't quit. I will just keep on going like... So that must be your decision as well. You make a decision when you've decided that you want something in your life, you want to double your income, that you are going to double your income, and you will not quit. You will just keep on trying more things until you succeed. And if you make that decision, your success is guaranteed. It's a law that says that your outer world will always be a mirror or a reflection of your inner world. So therefore, your outer world today is a reflection of what you're thinking about today most of the time. If you change what you're thinking, if you reprogram, then your outer world will change so it's consistent with your inner program. So, how do top people think most of the time? They have what we call orientations. Now, an orientation is a general way of thinking. And the first orientation is what we call future orientation. That means that top people think about the future most of the time. Top people think about where they're going most of the time. But top people have a special way of thinking about the future. And the special way is this, is they imagine a perfect future for themselves. They imagine a happy future. They imagine an ideal future for themselves. What would you be doing in 5 years if your life was perfect? How much money would you have if your life was perfect? What kind of a family or marriage would you have if your life was perfect? What kind of a home would you live in? What kind of a car would you drive? How much money would you have in the bank? How much money would you be earning? Who would you be with in 5 years? Who would you no longer be with in 5 years? If your life was perfect in every way, what would it look like? Now, the greater clarity you have with regard to the answer to this question, the faster you move toward it, the faster it moves toward you. The greater clarity you have, the easier it is to make decisions. The greater clarity you have of your future vision for your life, the easier it is for you to learn lessons. First of all, have a future orientation and just imagine your perfect future. And don't worry about people who say it's not possible, you're too young, you're too old. Don't listen to negative people. What you say is, if someone else can do it, I can do it as well. And then you look around and you find someone who's done it and you go and ask them for their advice. And successful people will always give you advice. They will always tell you what to do. And if you just do what other successful people do, you soon get the same results that other successful people get. By the way, here's a quick point. Rich DeVos of Amway also told me this. He said, if you're not going to commit for 5 years to this business, he said, don't get into it at all. He said, it takes 5 years to master any new business. And this is based on years of research. If you decide to become a salesperson, it will take you 5 years to master it. If you decide to become a lawyer, it will take you 5 years after you graduate before you will begin to become successful. If you decide to become a doctor, after all your training, it will still take 5 more years before you are successful. So therefore, if you're not willing to commit 5 years, don't start at all. Right. Well, so develop future orientation and think about the future most of the time. If someone has a problem, you say, okay, what's the solution? And think about the future. When someone makes a mistake, you say, okay, you've made a mistake. Next time, in the future, why don't we do it this way? Keep thinking about the future. And when you're thinking about the future, your dimmer switch is on full, and you're happy, and you're more positive, and you have more energy, you're more creative. You're the best person that you can be. Almost all of our problems in life come from people who are talking about the past. They're worrying about the past. They're angry about the past. They're critical about the past. They keep talking about the past. Don't be like that. Think about the future. Now, the second quality of top people is top people are goal-oriented. Top people are goal-oriented in that they think about their goals most of the time. They think about their goals and how to achieve them most of the time. So let me give you a simple 7-step formula for setting and achieving goals. There are many more elaborate or bigger formulas, but I will give you a 7-step formula that you can write down on one of the back pages of your booklet. Step number 1 is to decide exactly what you want. Most people have no idea of what they really want. They say, well, I want to make more money. But that's not a goal. That's just a wish or a fantasy. They say, I want to be healthy. But that's not a goal. These are not goals, okay? A goal is something that is very clear and measurable. So decide exactly what you want. Number 2 is write it down. Write it down on paper. The very act of taking a goal and writing it down increases the likelihood, the probability of achieving it by 10 times, by 1,000%. So write it down. Number 3 is set a deadline. Set a date at which you will achieve the goal. Sometimes people say, well, what if I write a deadline and I don't achieve it by the deadline? Then you set a new deadline. And you keep setting new deadlines until you finally come to the right deadline. So number 1 is decide what you want. Number 2 is write it down. Number 3 is set a deadline. If you just do that, you will have separated yourself from most of the people in the world. Number 3 is make a list. Make a list of everything that you could think of to do to achieve the goal. Every step, every activity, every action. Write down everything you can think of. And as you think of new things later, write them on the list. Keep writing your list until your list is complete. You can't think of anything else. Number 5 is take your list and organize the list. Organize the list by priority. What do you have to do first? Organize the list by sequence. What do you have to do before you do something else? And a list organized by priority and sequence is a plan. So now you have a goal and a plan. Now you've moved into the top 3% of people in the world. You have a goal and a plan. Step number 5 is take action immediately on your plan. Take one step. Take any step. But do something immediately to start the process moving. Do you remember that Confucius once said, a journey of 1,000 leagues begins with a single step? What we have found in history is that the achievement of any great goal begins with a single step. And then you take another step. And then you take another step. And if you take enough steps, you can accomplish any goal in the world. So number 7 is do something, take action on your goal every day. Every single day, once you have decided on your goal, And let's say that your goal is to double your income, okay? Once you have decided to double your income, every single day do something that moves you in that direction. Never let a day go past. 7 days a week, 365 days a year, do something every day that moves you toward your most important goal. If you can do that, you change your life. Because here's the wonderful thing. When you have a clear future vision, and then you break it down on paper into goals, and then you do something every day that moves you towards your goal, you feel happy. You feel powerful. Your self-esteem goes up. You feel confident. Your dimmer switch goes on full. You become more optimistic and more creative. Your whole world works better with a goal. And the reason most people are unhappy today is because they don't have any goals. Once you've written down your 10 goals, there's one more part of the exercise. I want you to look at your list of goals, and I want you to ask this question. Which one goal on this list, if I could achieve it within 24 hours, would have the biggest positive impact or effect on my life? Which one goal? And you read through your list of goals, and you pick the one goal that if you could achieve that, would have the greatest impact on your life. Then you take that goal and you write it at the top of a new piece of paper. And then you set a deadline. And then you make a list of everything you can think of to achieve that goal. And then you organize the list by priority and sequence. And then you take action on that goal and you do something every day. If you will follow this formula that I've just given you, write down 10 goals, select the most important goal, make a plan to achieve that most important goal, and do something every day, my promise to you is in a week, a month, a year from now, your whole life will be different. You will never be the same. This changed my life. It's changed the life of every person who has ever practiced it. As long as you don't make an excuse not to write down your 10 goals before you go to bed. Now, the last orientation I want to share with you is excellence orientation. Excellence orientation means that you must commit to excellence to be successful. You must decide that whatever you do for a living, you are going to be the best at what you do. Now, when I talk about be the best or commit to excellence, I mean commit to getting into the top 10% in your business. The top 10% in terms of income. Now, you can find out how much the top 10% of people make. And remember, you're already in the top 10% in terms of your thinking, and that's what's most important. What one skill, if you developed and did it, would help you to double your income more than any other skill? And whatever that is, write it down as a goal and set a deadline to become excellent in that area. And make a list of all the things that you could do to achieve the goal, and then organize the list into a plan, and then take action on your plan, and then do something every day until you become excellent in that area. Remember, nobody's better than you, nobody's smarter than you. If somebody else is excellent in that area, you can become excellent in that area as well. Now, let me tell you two things that are very important. Business skills are not like athletics, where you have to have special ability, or music, where you have to have special talent. Business skills are learnable skills. All business skills are learnable by anyone. Anyone can learn to ride a bicycle. Anyone can learn to drive a car. Anyone can learn any business skill. All business skills are learnable. And nobody's better than you, and nobody's smarter than you. Now, here is the second point. You could be only one skill away from doubling your income. You could be only one skill away from doubling your income. And you probably know what that skill is. You probably know what it is. So, Ask yourself this question: what one skill, if I was really good at it, would help me the most to double my income? Now, since we're all entrepreneurs, that means we are all in the business of sales. We are all in sales every day. We sell ourselves, we sell our ideas, we try to influence other people. Anybody who says that I'm not in sales just does not understand. Everyone is in sales. How many people here have children? Have you ever tried to make your children go to bed at night? So there are 7 parts of the sales process. These 7 parts largely determine everything that happens to you in life. So give yourself a grade of 1 to 10 on the 7 key result areas of selling. Number 1 is prospecting. If you're in sales and you talk to a lot of people, if you try more things and you're good at prospecting, you're going to be a big success, because the probabilities are that you're going to make a lot of sales, you're going to recruit a lot of people, you're going to have a successful business. So that's number 1. Give yourself a grade of 1 to 10. 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. 10 means that you're absolutely excellent at prospecting, and 1 means that you have a lot of work to do. Number 2 is establishing friendship and trust with other people. Remember, people are emotional. People will only listen to you if they like you and they feel positive towards you. And the more you like yourself, the more other people will like you. So give yourself a scale of 1 to 10. Do you have the kind of personality where you like everybody you meet and everybody likes you? Number 3 is identifying their needs by asking them questions and finding out what it is they want to accomplish with their life. What is it that they really want? What are their goals? What are their hopes and dreams with regard to what you sell? Once you're clear about what it is they need, it's much easier for you to show them your product or service. Number 4 is presenting. And this is where most sales are made, is when you make the presentation. When you show the person that what you are offering them will satisfy their needs better than anything else that they could look at. So all of good selling is to find out what people need and show them that your product or service will help them to get it. Number 5 is answering questions or objections. Every prospective customer has objections, and you have to learn how to answer those objections. So give yourself a scale of 1 to 10. At a 10, you are very good at answering questions. With a 1, you're not very good at all. Number 6 is closing the sale or getting people to take action. Many people think that if all they do is have a conversation with another person about the business, that's the same as selling. No, you are only selling when you can get the other person to make a commitment to take action. Remember, the commitment to action is the aim of all your activities. That is your goal, is to get other people to take action. And finally, number 7 is to give that person good service and good support so they not only buy more of your product, but they recommend other people to the business. They recommend other people to your product or service. So on a scale of 1 to 10, give yourself a grade and ask yourself, what is your weakest skill? Because this is what we've learned, is your weakest key skill sets the height of your income. Your weakest key skill in your business determines how much you earn. Let me ask you a quick question. If a group of children are going for a walk, which child sets the speed of the entire group of children? Well, the answer is it's always the slowest child. The whole group has to slow down for the slowest child. In your career, your weakest skill is your slowest child. Your weakest skill sets the speed at which you achieve all your other goals. So what you do is you say, the one skill that will help me the most is my weakest skill. Because if I bring that skill up, it'll help me to speed up toward my goal more than anything else. Now, if you start off and you identify your weakest skill and you work on it for a week or a month or a year, eventually you will master that skill. Then, what do? What is your next step? Well, your next step is you now say, what is my weakest skill? And you go to work on that skill. And for the rest of your career, you dedicate yourself to improving in one key area at a time. And it's always the one area that will help you more than any other area. For the rest of your life, you keep bringing up your weakest skill. And that will move you ahead faster in your life than any other strategy that you can use. In our society, success only comes from being excellent at doing the most important parts of your job. And you could be one skill away from doubling your income. The final orientation is action orientation. As I said at the beginning, and I said it in the middle, and I'll now say it at the end, the most important orientation of all is action orientation. You see, the more action you take, the more energy you have. The more action you take, the more experience you get. The more experience you get, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you get. The better you get, the better results you get from every action. So soon, you get onto an upward spiral in life. You try more things, you persist longer, you keep going, you never give up, you keep working toward goals, and your life starts going faster and faster and faster. Let me just finish up by saying this. Right at the beginning is that South Korea is now entering into the greatest time in all of human history. There are more opportunities and possibilities for you now and tomorrow and next year than have ever existed in all of history. Everybody in this room can become financially independent if they really want to. If you set it as a goal and you make a plan and you work on it every day and you never give up. Thank you very much. Thank you.